Welcome to the Inner Priestess podcast, helping empathic and intuitive women learn to trust, recognize, and embody the priestess within. I'm Elizabeth, also known as She Who Walks with Women, and here's today's reminder that your intuition is real, the earth is sacred, and you're more powerful than you can imagine. Developing your energetic abilities is an extremely confusing, overwhelming, and frustrating process. If you've been following me for a while, you know that this is because the patriarchal system has destroyed the ancient feminine initiation rites. You never received the initiation into your gifts that you need and deserve. I'm going to refrain from getting on my soapbox about that now, because I could spend all day expounding on it, but I want to create some clarity for you. When we don't have our wise women community standing by to guide us and initiate us when our gifts reveal themselves, the concept of energetic sensitivity and abilities becomes so intangible. It's such a subtle experience, and we have no point of reference for understanding it, no solid ground to stand on. It feels like it comes and goes with the wind. We get a sweet taste of it, but then it's gone before we can really examine it. I'm going to create a little bit of solid ground for you to stand on today by framing the stages of awakening to your gifts. I want you to have something tangible that your mind can grasp, bringing it from purely energetic realm back into the physical world for you. So while we each go through various lessons within this process, which are needed to develop your unique abilities, and I can't stress this enough, and maybe we'll talk about this in a future episode, your abilities are going to be unlike anyone else's. There will be similarities, but the way you receive and interpret energetic messages is going to be unique to you, and that's a good thing. It doesn't make you any less than someone else. Your gifts develop in a way that supports you and your environment and are exactly the perspective and power that's needed right now. So we each go through various lessons within this process, but the overall trajectory is the same, and I'm going to outline that for you here now. So the first stage is that our gifts reveal themselves. For some of us, this happens in childhood. For others, it happens later in life. There's no right or wrong time for your gifts to reveal themselves. It's all divine timing. It's all purposeful timing. There's also no good or bad way for them to reveal themselves. It could be subtle, or it could be something undeniable. Some of my earliest memories were of past life dreams, which may not be what you think of when you think spiritual awakening, but it's all valid. When I was 38 weeks pregnant, my 3-year-old nephew said to me, "I can hear the baby talking." And when I asked him what the baby was saying, he said he's ready to come out now. I was expecting to go to 41 weeks like my mom and my sister had, so I told him probably not today, but lo and behold, 6 hours later I was in labor, and just a short 54 hours of labor later, my baby was born. So think back for a moment now. Did you have any spiritual experiences as a child? Did you have vivid dreams? Did you seem to know what someone was feeling or thinking? Any experience with premonition? And what about your connection with animals and weather and nature? It's possible that your gifts didn't show up until later in life, maybe even just last week, but it's more likely that you had these experiences as a child and didn't recognize them for what they are. So once our gifts have revealed themselves, however subtle they may be, then what happens? For most of us, there's a period of repression, and this is normal in today's society. Maybe someone told us we were weird, crazy, making things up. Maybe we told ourselves that based on what we considered to be normal. Maybe you didn't go through a phase of repression, and that's normal too. It all depends on our environment. For me, around puberty, my gifts got stronger to the point where I would see in a dream everything that was going to happen the next day at school. I would know what someone was going to say or do before they did it or said it. And I learned pretty quickly that this wasn't normal. I was so afraid of being crazy or weird that I forced it down and did my best to fit in. So think back now, was there a period for you where you denied your sensitivity? Was there a specific circumstance that spurred that reaction? You might even still be in this phase of protecting yourself, and that's okay. You're here now, and your secret is safe with me. I can tell you from experience that the longer you repress your energetic sensitivity, the harder it comes back at you. This is a well-documented experience in many cultures, and it's what happened to me. When you push against your soul purpose, your energetic truth, you create friction, and the lessons keep getting harder and harder, almost like the universe is yelling at you to wake up. It's another side effect of not receiving your initiation. If you've gone through the repression phase or you're still in it, you know that this can take years to overcome. And finally admit to yourself that your experiences are more than just coincidence. And this is the next step, admitting to yourself that your gifts are real, your experience is true, and you begin to trust your intuition. This stage can take us a long time as well, because we're facing so many generations of conditioning. We have to check ourselves repeatedly. This stage where you're learning to trust that your experiences are more than just coincidence is a lot of looking back after the fact and saying, I knew what was going to happen. A lot of the time, we'll vow that we're going to trust our gut next time because we have no one guiding us. It takes a lot of repetition and accumulated experience to actually trust your gut. Once we've had enough of those aha moments, we move on to the next stage where we're mostly confident that we're not just making it all up or the universe is playing some cruel joke on us, and we begin to notice how we experience our energetic sensitivity, which is unique to you. You might notice that someone's name pops into your head, and either they'll call you or you'll find out later that something big happened to them that day. You might notice a gut feeling, and you'll begin to question what that feeling means. There are so many ways that you'll experience your sensitivity, far too many to cover here. But essentially, you start paying attention and you start trying to understand what you're experiencing and what you're capable of. This is the stage where a lot of us get tripped up and stuck for a really long time. Self-study is challenging. It takes mental focus and a lot of persistence. And it's even more challenging because in that process, we look for the answers outside of ourselves. More often than not, this leads us down the wrong path, especially with the saturation of the surface level information available on social media today. It's hard to separate the wheat from the chaff. So we get tripped up a lot here, and this is where a lot of us meet a dead end and feel trapped in this cycle of searching and studying but never really knowing. If we had our initiation rites and our community of wise women and teachers, you wouldn't get stuck here. You'd move into the final stage, which is understanding how to harness and wield your power. I think this is something that a lot of intuitives and empaths don't realize, but you're capable of far more than just clearer insight. When you think of your gifts, it's important to think of them as energetic sensitivity. Realize that everything is energy. Everything is light vibrating at various speeds or frequencies. Your intuition, your empathy, and your vivid dreams, they're all a manifestation of your ability to sense that energy, to sense the shifts in energy. The ability to live in the physical realm while seeing and sensing and feeling the energetic realm. That's your power. When you understand this through the lived experience of becoming familiar with energy, you realize that you can also influence this energy. So when you think of what you're capable of, or what you hope to accomplish by understanding and developing your gifts, I actually want you to envision the images and the stories we've been told about wizards, sorceresses, witches with their wands. You can direct your energy and see the results. It's a major responsibility, and sometimes that scares us. We don't know if we can be trusted with all that power, but I can tell you for sure that if the idea of being able to influence the energy of the world around you makes you nervous, or if you're afraid you'll hurt someone, that's a sure sign that you'll be responsible with it. So work on letting go of that fear. Imagine the impact you would have if you were fully in control of not only your sensitivity, but of your power. So just to recap, the stages of our energetic awakening is first, our gifts begin to reveal themselves. For some of us, the second stage is repression, where we try to hide and fit in and be normal. The third stage is learning to trust that your intuition is not just a coincidence, your experiences are real. Once you can trust that it's more than a coincidence, you begin to study how you receive these energetic messages. You begin to notice how they come up for you, what you experience, and what that means. And then once you move through that final stage, you realize that you can harness and wield energy. You can influence the world around you. You can use it to heal others, to heal the earth, to lead others, to create harmony and balance and healing. So wherever you are on this journey of awakening to your gifts, start by getting clear about what stage you're in. I know it feels like an endless journey right now. It took me 20 years since I began repressing my gifts to get to where I am now. But remember that it's worth it, it's needed, and your gifts are invaluable. Take a moment to look back at your experiences because there's so much wisdom in this process, and getting real about your own path can provide a lot of clarity about your unique abilities. And make sure to stick with me either here on the podcast or on Instagram, or both, because we're going to be moving through this process together, and we're going to do it in a lot less than the 20 years it took me. So until next time, your intuition is real, the earth is sacred, and you're more powerful than you can imagine.